breeze blowing, storm clouds moving in. Whatever's gonna happen, it's about to begin. I remember what the drunk donkey told me when he said, son, don't fear. Mike's where the page life is about to be. Then he's gonna tell you about the wind and the rain. Gonna tell you which way it's going, if it's gonna be a hurricane. Don't you worry about the news that they try to hide. Just look on Mike's page, Drunk Donkey Nationwide. There'll always be some haters, but they don't understand that Mike's got a friend and 100,000 more across the land. Well, if you want to know it first and you want to know it right and you want to have time to plan, Drunk Donkey Nation tells your friend Mike, he's your man. Then he's gonna tell you all about the wind and the rain. Gonna tell you if it's gonna be a storm or if it's gonna be a hurricane. Don't you worry about the news others try to hide. Click on Mike's page, Drunk Donkey Nationwide. Yeah, here at Mike's page, Drunk Donkey Nationwide.
All right, everybody, good morning. What is going on? It is almost July the 4th. I'm sure a lot of folks are traveling, maybe getting things set for a holiday weekend. So if you are, and you're listening on the road, good morning. Be safe out there. So yeah, what's going on? This is Mike from Mike's Weather Page. Me and Louie. Louie's going to help me with the broadcast today. We're going to talk weather, I promise. Usually we're on for about an hour, so be patient. That's what we do here. We've always done it. So I'll definitely talk everything you would possibly want to know about Beryl. We're going to talk about, maybe more. All right, how many yawn morning is it for you? All right, that was one. So yeah, we're going to say some hellos for a few minutes. I know we got people from all around the world watching. Welcome. A lot of folks from Jamaica are watching. I'm sure they should be in prep mode right now. The Caymans, Yucatan, Belize, and then of course the Gulf of Mexico. Big question marks in the Gulf. It is now officially supposed to be a hurricane in the Gulf, by the way. So now the big question is how strong and when does it make that turn? Does it stay in Mexico or does it actually get into Texas? So there's still lots of unknowns with this. Not trying to be drama driven. Timing would be this weekend coming up, so it's still several days away. Usually about 3 days out, 2 days out, confidence is pretty darn good. 3 days out, we start to see outliers come into play and possibly things aren't 100% out. So even on tomorrow, we're still going to be talking about uncertainties, if that makes sense to you. What's up, Dusty? What's up there, Mr. Dale, Mary, Deborah, Martha? Appreciate everybody tuning in. Volume is low. Well, I'm about the normal, so you might have to turn it up a little bit. So anyway, I'm coming to you live from Tampa Bay, Florida. Oldsmar is my hometown. This is Louie. If you're new to the site, welcome. I'm not a meteorologist. If you need official information, National Hurricane Center, National Weather Service, 100%. We speculate a lot. We look at spaghetti models a lot. If that's a little bit too much for you, I understand, but that's what we do. We have a lot of great supporters. ABC Fine Wine and Spirits, sponsor of our daily brew in the mornings, and you can get your brews there at ABC, especially here in our great little state of Florida. I am a Florida native, as is ABC, and they cannot have a more perfect picture than that right there. We have July 4th tomorrow, so happy July 4th. America tomorrow. Red, white, and blue. So we'll be live tomorrow, though. Shelly's dedicated. I'm dedicated. We are going camping. We'll be streaming live from my mobile studio tomorrow morning at 9:19 Eastern. That's our dedication. I delayed our trip 2 days. We were supposed to go Monday, but things are getting a little bit known now, so I feel like things are becoming a little bit more clear in what we might be talking about. Let's talk about this little guy right here, Beryl. So, it's a monster. I don't use adjectives much, but this little guy has defied everything. 8 o'clock this morning, it's still 145 miles an hour. Incredible. Should have weakened some by now. It didn't. It is weakening some, but I hate saying 145 is a weakening hurricane. So 145 is a monster. This thing peaked at 165. So, don't get caught up on the weakening wordage. We do have some wind shear out ahead, so it does have a little rough spell, but that's Jamaica right there in front of it, and it's going to be so close to a direct hit. Might pass just to the south, but man, it is right there right now, and unfortunately, somebody along the coast there is going to get some of the big winds. So, yeah, it looks like it's tracking north, and it's south, and it's north, and it's south, Michael. It's tough to know, but that's it, man. And then we got the Caymans watching, and then the Yucatan. So, how many yawns was that for Louis today? You know where we're going, Louis? This dog's no English. I'm going to tell you right now. Ready? Want to go camping? Want to go camping? Do you want to go camping? We're going to go camping. And Hunter's running around now. They know it. They can feel it. Dogs are pretty smart. For sure. I am not the mayor of Oldsmar, B. We're going to get right into it. I usually don't talk as much as I do. We talk all the time when it's slow. So if you want to hello and stuff. But I want to get right into it. And talk about things. Because that's a lot of anxiety with this storm, obviously. And they don't want to hear me gabble. Gabble, is that a word? Gabble? Gabble? I don't know. All right. I do have a lot of things already pre-opened. This is our current map at 8 o'clock. So Invest 96 is still out there. Do you know we had Tropical Storm Chris? I swear, I woke up the other morning at like 5 in the morning and they named it. And then 8 in the morning it was gone. A lot of folks don't even know we had Chris. Chris had it. It's 15 minutes of fame. But we do have Invest 96, believe it or not. Only 20% chance to develop. But, look at this. Look at this convection today. I posted this morning. Unfortunately, they're getting rains and storms over the same area that got hit with Beryl. So 96 has always been following along the same footprint as Beryl. The waters are a little cooler, but a lot of convection today. I was so surprised to see that. So, we're going to keep an eye on it, man. It could be sneaky. Here's Invest 96. It, went through a lot of that dry air. Unfortunately, it is hey, Hunter, quit scratching. It is a little to the north. Looks like Barbados getting a lot. I know we got somebody from Barbados watching right now, but there's the core of it, man. And it is kind of going over the same area. So keep an eye on it. We'll see. Only 20%, which is good news. So we'll talk about that later. Here's the actual track. This came out at 5 a.m. This is your latest, okay? We get a new track update at 11 o'clock, 5 o'clock, 11 o'clock, 5 o'clock, 11 o'clock. So 8 o'clock we get intermediate advisories. They don't change the track at 8 or 2, but they do add watches and warnings at 8 and 2. But our new track will be coming out in about an hour and 15 minutes. So we'll pay attention to that. I don't expect a huge change. I think we're definitely looking at a northern Mexico, southern Texas landfall. From most of the models, what we're seeing. The big thing you got to remember, the right side of a storm is the worst side. So even a landfall at the border brings a lot of effects northward. Hunter, knock it off, buddy. He's starting to scratch. We pay a lot of money at the vet so you don't scratch. So we do have an H now, 2 a.m. Sunday. So the big question marks, a couple things. The short term is how far north this thing goes from Mexico. We know it's 145 winds. It might be weakening a little bit now, but don't use that word weakening. It's still a major hurricane. Could pass just to the south of the Caymans, but again, the lower island would get more of the big winds. Be around 100 miles an hour plus for the Yucatan. Still a very significant hurricane as this thing makes its way tomorrow evening into landfall early Friday morning. So unfortunately, I was talking to some folks last night at Chili's. They were actually going to Cancun and Cozumel on a cruise, and they're going to be there Saturday. But the problem is, who knows if they get any damage? They're on the north side of this thing, so if you're cruising and stuff, you're going to want to pay attention. Make sure they don't close your destinations off for evacuations. You never know. If they're under hurricane warning, things are different. I found out the Caymans evacuate all tourists because all the shelters are for locals only. So a boat, don't worry about it, obviously, because they're going to go around it and you can stay on the boat. That's what we do. But the big question mark is going to be, how much does Yucatan disrupt Beryl? And now we have official hurricane in the Gulf. Now, the thing that always kind of gets to me is this. What happens from here to here? Most models are showing a strengthening hurricane. The S is over land. This is something I wish the NHC would actually change. I wish they would have a landfall estimate of intensity and not have these gaps, because this will be strengthening from this H to the landfall. Points meaning they say 75. It could be 85. It could be 90. Maybe 100. I don't know. But then it's going to weaken over land. So it's going to be a strengthening system on approach, which means a lot of action around it. Remember, the cone is where the eye can go. I know I sound like a broken record when I talk about it all the time, but the cone is anywhere that they believe that the eye could go. Okay? It's big. That means the eye could go here. But the effects are always way outside the cone. So don't think this is the area that's only going to get affected. If this thing takes a turn to the north, we're going to have a lot of effects way outside the cone here. The cone is just where the center of the storm can go. So very important to note that. So we're going to look at all the models here in a second, I promise. I'm 99.99999999999. We're going to have hurricane warnings at 11 o'clock here across the Yucatan, and including Cozumel. And remember the strongest part of the storm is on the north side, so Belize is probably on that bottom window of getting much. And there's a current look. This is on zoom.earth. Great map here you can click. We had a little short bobble last night when I went to bed. It did a little turn to the south. A lot of the chatter last night was this thing was going to do this. Whoops, I actually drew the whole. I could have done that if I tried. A lot of the chatter was this. Man, I can't draw a straight line. I took art in high school too. There we go. But it didn't do that, is what I'm saying. So storms wiggle, they wobble. And we got a wobble here and a wobble back north. Currently, it's pretty much on track. Major hurricane later this afternoon right off the coast here. So the good news is it's, if any good news, it's not a direct hit, it appears. But some of the models are still keeping it a little to the north. So we got a lot of population on the south side of Jamaica there. Same goes with the Caymans. This thing goes a little to the south. There's a chance, you escape a lot of it. So winds currently, though, like I said, 145. Here's the timing of your winds. These are your tropical storm force winds. So the Yucatan will start feeling tropical storm force winds tomorrow, July 4th. You're going to start feeling them. The earliest you can start feeling tropical storm force winds for Texas would be Saturday evening. It's a good map here to give everybody an idea that even though landfall might be 24 hours later, you're going to start feeling the effects. And this is so important when it comes to planning. If you look at the cone and you see this, let me pull it up here. If you see this, landfall somewhere around, Sunday night, let's say Sunday night landfall, you're like, oh, I got time Saturday. Well, no, realistically, you get winds 24 hours almost ahead of time. That's because the outer feeder bands are starting to spin, pushing in. So even though the storm's way over here, you're going to start feeling the wind Saturday night. Now, that makes a big difference, you know, shelters and whatever. I think I saw Texas already activated some of their EOC offices in preparation for this possibility. Here's what the wind field looks like. These are all National Hurricane Center graphics, but this is the orange or yellow, whatever you call it. That's your tropical storm force wind fields, and your hurricane winds are in red. And unfortunately, you know, even with a pass to the south of Jamaica, a lot of these hurricane winds are going to be across the island. Now, Jamaica has a lot of mountains. Unfortunately, hurricane winds are magnified tremendously the higher up you go. So, you know, any land above sea level experiences even stronger winds. This is a cool wind map I have linked on the site. All this stuff's linked to my site. This is wind analysis. This kind of shows you the strongest winds. And you can see here the core in north is the bigger winds. So that red here, hurricane force winds, are, you know, just going to clip the whole island, it looks like, even where it's tracking right now. So that's the current wind field on that. Spaghetti models just came out on Tropical Tidbits. We love it. There's Mr. Levi. These come out 6 hours apart, so our next run of spaghetti models will be around 3 p.m.-ish. Again, everybody, I'm not reading comments when I do these big, when we have storms. Apologize. But I try to go over everything, you know, then we'll slow down a little bit and say hey at the end. But these spaghetti models come out. Remember, spaghetti models are all different brains, all different models that some are right, some are wrong. The euro is not included on these spaghetti models. The euro is trending on the southern tracks. The UK made a big shift back down from yesterday, but we still have several, including the GFS, going into Texas. So we're going to get that turn. We're going to get that bend. We have a weakness here developing. This thing's going to probably curve. The big question mark is, you know, when we get a slowdown, it starts to curve, and it also gives another day over those Gulf of Mexico waters. So it's going to have 24 hours plus. These are timestamps here. 24, 48, 72, 96, 120. So that, you know, it's going to have a whole day and a half over the water. We're going to have to watch this thing. Yes. Intensity models are been pretty good with Beryl. Sometimes I don't think they do very well, but these intensity models did very well. The latest 12Z shows an obvious weakening. We have a lot of wind shear. I'll show you out ahead of it right now. That's going to affect some in some land with Jamaica. You know, kind of disrupts the circular flow a little bit. But what's you got to kind of just keep in the back of your mind. You know, the official line is the black line here. This is showing you after the Yucatan land interaction that we could see a little bit of bump up. You know, how high up? We'll have to see. I'm going to show you all the possibilities here in a second. But the official is on the lower end here, Cat 1. But we do have, you know, quite a few that are even inching into Cat 2. So not 100% this thing is only going to be a low-end Cat 1, I guess the bottom line is what we're saying. So we're really watching close, Texas. I'm telling you. There's any possibilities. So we'll dive into the models. Tropical Tidbits. Show you how to use it. Good morning, everybody. What's going on? Hope you have a great 4th of July. Shelly and I will be here tomorrow on the holiday. Might be on CNN tonight with Erin Burnett. She's become a fan of ours. And saw Tom and Dan yesterday. Anybody listen to Tom and Dan? Good guys out of Orlando. Cool dudes. I met them. Hung out. Cool guys. All right, so this is what we got. Let's show you the GFS. This is kind of the extreme. Well, there's a couple to the north. The little blue dot behind is Invest 96, if you're wondering what that is. Only 20% chance to develop. But, you know, I raised a question last night, and I really didn't see an answer. But in the past, I swear I've been doing this so many years. Correct me if I don't know. But these are not initializing correctly. And, so I don't think they're really good for intensity purposes other than track purposes. Pressures are intensity basically, and we're in the 940-50 range right now. These are initializing 20 millibars high. Doesn't seem to affect the track much, but it's deceiving on intensity for sure. Why am I way back here? Oh, I rewound it. Now we're on 0 right here. But the important thing is what it does, you know, as far as strengthening goes and what it's thinking as far as down the road. So it's going to be heading toward the Yucatan, and we know that. But this is what happens on the exit. So GFS exits at 1,000 millibars. Makes sense. It weakens it. But, you know, over this water, it deepens it. 991, 990, 87, 81, 77, 73, 71. That's kind of a worst case scenario for a developing hurricane. That lasts on approach. People that were up around Sally know what I'm talking about. You know, so that's just something you keep in the back of your mind, that when it exits Yucatan, there's going to be a day of watching this thing to see exactly how much it can intensify. Now the GFS is to the north. If you know, a lot of models are not going that far north. I didn't mean to show you this to like make it look like Texas is 100%. This is just one model, but you know, again, timing I went over a bunch, but you know, this is Sunday morning, so it would be a weekend possibility. Now the GFS is not really your best model. The Euro usually outperforms it. It's showing 974 over Jamaica right now. Let's see what it does. It weakens it, and then it brings it back to 87. And then it kind of develops it back a little bit to 983. So there's a lot of wind shear right here coming into play. So on the other side of this wind shear, it does appear there's going to be a window to develop before the Yucatan. And that's big because that means it'll be stronger as it exits the Yucatan. So anyway, there's 983, back to a pretty decent little hurricane there on Friday. And it weakens it to 1,099, and it really never brings it back. 99, 97, 98. That's the 6Z. 12Z, or overnight Z. A little lower, actually. So maybe a tick to the north on this one. Yeah, it shifted a little to the north. So, you know, you're getting the idea of the window here. I mean, if I had it, I mean, basically, we're looking at that. You know, I mean, that's just the general models. But last night's run, you know, 1,000, didn't really develop it much. It did 993, 995, 992. So it did a little bit, you know. But before I forget, I want to show you this too, the water temperatures. The anomaly map here, this is fascinating. I don't know if we've had one or two invests. I can't remember now. These things all blend together over time for me, but well, that's a little different actually. What's going on here? This isn't as much as I thought. Well, I'm trying to make it a positive post here. This is your 7-day seed map change. Here is, this might put it in better perspective. All right, this is your water anomaly map. So the good news with all of this is we had record heat here and record ocean heat content is partly why Beryl did what it did. But we don't have that water in the Gulf. So, you know, we had Chris, I think we had 2 invests, and we had Alberto. So we had a lot of storms over the last 2 weeks that have helped cool down the water. You get a lot of upwelling. The storms feed off of that, and it pulls up water. It uses the warm water on the top of on the surface, and that water on the bottom comes back up, and it's usually cooler below the surface. And so anyway, the waters are not record hot is what I'm trying to get at. So the good news, if there is any good news, is it won't have like that powerful fuel that Beryl had this early in the season, if that makes sense to you. All right, let's go back to models. All right, so that's the Euro. Let's look at the icon. Might as well. It's, you know, this is not meant to scare anybody, but the icon deepens a little bit before the Yucatan, and then it exits 992. You know, there's less mountains on the tippy top, so the farther north this thing goes, it's going to be able to keep those bands to the north over the water and help keep this thing warm. So 994, you know, and it deepens it. 89, 86, 82, 80, 77, 72, 71, 70, and it actually goes north. That's, one model, but I, just got to show it to you, and it's deepening. The important thing with the icon is it's deepening it in the Golf. The Euro is a really good tracking model, though. I don't want to, get everybody worried about that. Canadian hasn't done very good with this system, but again, it exits at 1,000 and it develops it to 987, and it keeps it right at the Texas border pretty much. So you kind of get the idea and the trends. The Euro AI, I haven't really found this yet to be anything too significant, but it's a newer version of the Euro. It exits at 1,004. See, you get my point though, right? It's showing 1,000 millibar over Jamaica, so that's not correct at all. But the important thing is that it exits it at 1,005 and it develops it to 996, and it's a little more north. So, again, I mean, anybody lower Texas, I'm telling you, that's been the theme for days. I mean, even with a landfall just a tick to your south, you're going to have effects. There's a lot of people down there. But this Euro AI even's a little higher now, 996. So now your main hurricane runs, we have 4 of them. We have H-Wharf, which is an amazing intensity model map. We'll look at that one, not so much on the track. HMON over the last couple of years has been a really good tracking model. HAFS A has been tracking good. I guess HAFS B has not. And we're going to look at these here. But, here's another cool site I want to show you. Right here, guidance. This is a gentleman named, I think this is Brian's site. Brian Tang, is that right? Let me show you the bias here real quick. Nope. Yeah, Brian Tang is his name. This is a cool map, man. This shows you this storm. Everybody else asked me, here you can verify it. Atlantic 02 2024. This is the second storm of the season. Everybody wants to know what model's doing the best. Well, the bigger the climb, the more model error that model had. Okay, so 4 days out, the UK was the worst. So we look at like 3 days out so far, right? 3 days out. And the ones that stand out as don't trust is the Canadian. This is orange, orange, orange. The Navy model, never been a good tracking model. It's proven to be the same. Everyone else is pretty close. I mean, the green, UK has got a little better short term, but overall, let's just say 72 hours out. Euro, so far, has been really good. HAFS AA has been good. So, this is stuff I look at. I mean, it's probably, I had one guy, I posted it and he writes English, and I'm like, I agree, but I don't know. But I guess the important thing, too, is the official and TVCN is your consensus models, and they're pretty darn good. The only one beating the consensus model is HMON. And I looked up, I didn't see anything from last year, but 2 years ago, the HMON was the best performing model of 2022. So we look at the HMON, too. So everyone's pretty darn close here. The ones that ain't close are the ones we don't want to look at. HAFS B has been a little high. Here's HAFS B, HAFS B, HAFS B. So we look at HAFS A, we look at H-Wharf. How did the H-Wharf do? Purple. Not bad. All right. That was about 5 minutes of nothing right there. Greg, I would love to, man, but we're camping. God, I'm torn here. Ian. Oh, buddy, you're tuning in. Awesome, man. Hey, I got your email too, by the way. I meant to email you back. I apologize. But man, yeah, we have a lot of folks from Jamaica that tune in all the time. So we're thinking of you. Appreciate you tuning in. Nick just asked if the high moves out totally. Some of the models are predicting that high to be a little more strong, or stronger, meaning stronger case that it's going to move out, deeper trough digging down. So yeah, hey Stephanie, what's up? Joseph, Long Island, what's going on? I'm gonna say hi to everybody at the end here. I really am. I just like to keep talking. Um, so, all right, but I'm gonna show you these higher resolution models because they've done really good. H-Wharf. Let's start that one with intensity. So, this has been the theme here. A little bit of weakening. 982. Now see. All right. All right. Well, obviously, I guess it's an assumption that the lower half of Jamaica is going to get the worst of this thing, unfortunately. And here's the latest H-Wharf, 942. That's a very strong hurricane, and it's right to your south. The eye just clipping the island. Caymans, the lower part, it still seems like it's just going to go tick to your south, but definitely the lower island is going to get a lot of hurricane winds. We are seeing a weakening, 978. 984. This is a shear zone, but Cape Verde seeds, we'll see if it pans out or not. I've talked about this from day one. We've been tracking Beryl since it left Africa, and that was like, what, 2 months ago? It seems like. There's no official word saying African seed, but Cape Verde seed, but I've heard a couple Mets talk about it over the years, and now I say it. When they have spin, from the get-go, they just have spin, and these storms rebound, and they just naturally outperform. And this one has outperformed every prediction. So the H-Wharf originally was on it pretty good. So we're really paying attention close to this intensity coming back. 982. 83, 82, 77, 75. So you can see there, again, just south of Cozumel and Cancun there. And then what does it do on the other side? There's a weakening, not much of a weakening, 985, but then it develops it, 64, 60, 58, 55. So, and unfortunately this run is going up into Texas. But in my experience, the H-Wharf has never been the best tracking model, but it's good for intensity. So we're still looking at more than a 75-mile-an-hour hurricane. If this verifies 960 range, it's above a Cat 1. Rule of thumb over here on my site on the very bottom here, usually a 950 range could be a Cat 3. And that's huge for things like surge. We're going to have surge. It's coming. Okay, let's look at the other models. So we know the HAS A is a pretty good tracking model too. Let's see what it does for Jamaica. We're rewinding here. The HAS A is here. HAS A, unfortunately, clips the island. Again, the eye is staying just off the coast. But unfortunately, the big winds are to the north. It's going to weaken it some, 78, just south of Caymans. Good news for you all there. Does not appear like a direct hit for the Caymans. But remember, if you're in a cone, that's the official. The cone means you could have a direct hit. But we're looking at models right now. 983, and it brings it back down to 969. So it's developing it before. It keeps it right there in the northern part of the Yucatan. Crosses over 970 or 90s, 91, 91, 90, 87, 88, 85, 83. So you can see a development. There's the Texas-Mexico border just to the south, but it's 973. See, that last 971. So last second development. Look up Hurricane Sally, man. This thing's got the look of a pretty, 998 to 970s, and this would be Sunday. So that's the one thing that I've been talking a lot about and worried about is just a sneaky last minute development that catches some folks off guard. Yesterday's forecast showing 65, 65, 70, 70. It doesn't make sense, and now they are bumping it up, and I suspect they're going to bump it up even more come 11 o'clock to probably 80, 85, I would think. They make gradual steps. All right, let's look at the H-Mon. Not a very good model for Jamaica. Meaning the Mon, H-Mon. Is that what? I won't come up. I can't get it to click up. What's going on here? Try it one more time. Do the refresh. There we go. H-Mon. There we go. All right. Ooh, 948. Man, this thing's going to be strong. All right. Man. Let's hope the H-Mon's not correct. Because it's actually showing a landfall. And the H-Mon, I have to be honest, it's been tracking pretty good with this system. So Jamaica's really watching this one close. Very close. This is showing a landfall. Man. All right. So then we got 981 south of Caymans, 989, 87, 85. So it's bringing it back down to 82. Crosses 96, 88, 82, 80, 79. So, and it's a little bit south of Texas there. So I think that pretty much tells the story there. This thing's probably going to re-strengthen a little bit before the Yucatan there, and it's going to strengthen in the Gulf of Mexico. So that is on the plate. Jamaica, it's already starting to hit there, Deborah. The big winds, obviously, will be a little bit later this afternoon, it looks like. This would be about now. A little bit, it's about midday. Noon. This is about noontime right here. So it's coming. I mean, they're going to start bad. It's going to get bad quick. Surge. This is this afternoon. Early this afternoon. Wednesday. Now. It's happening now. So what's important at this point is watching the hurricane hunters and looking for every little wiggle and every little wobble. And hoping that it, doesn't do a little wobble back to the north. So, these are little fixed points here, tropical tidbits, tracks it. You can see the hurricane hunters, but it looks like we got a little wobble to the north here, actually, possibly. So you connect the dots, They wiggle, they wobble, but, the pressure's maintaining. It's not weakening. Maybe the winds might be weakening, but the pressure is not weakening yet. 953 is still very strong. But it looks like it took a little wobble back to the north, and there's the island there. So, it's very important, man. They're already, that's just, it's going to be close. And then how it recovers. There's a lot to watch on this thing, man. I'm telling you. There's a lot of folks out ahead of this thing. They're going to be watching this, especially, I'm telling you. Might have to really watch these tracks. I'm waiting on the 6Z. Oh, they're out. Okay, they just came out. Let's see what we got. These are the... All right. Oh, God. Tell you. Oh, my God. I hate sometimes the unknowns. All right, so weathernerds.org. Good friend of mine, Matt. We'd never met, but he and Levi I talked to a lot. These are your latest 6Z. Remember, it's so confusing, but models run every 6 hours, and these are the freshest Euros. How about that? Yesterday's big point was this. Stronger goes north. The closer the storm gets to Jamaica, the more these come into play north of this line. Obviously, these lines below Jamaica will not matter as much because it's not happening. So we're really focused on the black line north. And what's really amazing with this graphic is that blue right there shows you a weakening over land. but we have a lot less blue over land there. And it's so important because the farther north our system crosses the Yucatan, it's still feeding off the waters here, and it's flatter. So that means more opportunity to increase here in the Gulf. The official Euro is still smack dab west. But man, it just seems like the outlier to me. I don't know. It seems like a little more bend to the north is coming. I would not share, or I would not, I don't know, man. I mean, I guess, hey, listen. What I've learned over the years is here it is. Anytime there's an outlier, I watch, okay? Just saying. If this thing splits the gap, we got bigger problems down the road, trust me. So it's very important the next 24 hours watching this track and seeing how far north it goes. So you'd like to see these a lot tighter, but we're not. So another thing that makes sense you hear so much about is weaker goes west, these green lines, because they ride more on lower level winds. They're not influenced by upper level winds as much, and they just kind of ride along and go west. But stronger systems tend to pull north, and that's exactly what these little guys here are saying. If this thing keeps north, then so. Anyway, there's the latest 6Z spaghetti models. And your latest 6Z GFS, kind of on that same little tug and turn here. Not official, just keeping everybody on their toes. It's not 100% guarantee. That's all. I mean, I hope I never come across as a what's the word they use all the time? Not hype, but I don't know. I don't want to come across that I'm cheerleading this thing to like hit the U.S. down the road. It's just as long as there's models showing it. And the reasoning is this high pressure system that's a very big question that's coming into play now. You can see it even on the surface charts. This low pressure right here, this frontal line, I didn't joke about it. I don't like to say words like joke, but it is kind of crazy to think that Wisconsin is affecting Hurricane Beryl, meaning however strong this low pressure is here will push our high away and fronts influence Caribbean storms because they open up gaps in roadways of paths, if that makes sense. So, like if we look at 500 millibars, good. It's your height levels. It's bigger storms are influenced more by upper level winds. It seems like. So we look at 500. Hey, look who woke up! Come here, Sleeping Beauty. We let Sarah sleep in today because she has a big day of camping and swimming. I want you to lean down here. Get over here. Look right there to everybody. What do you want to say to them? There's like 10,000 people watching you. Get over this way more. There you go. Say something. Say like, good morning.
Good morning, Jason.
Jason. Greg, if you're watching, she said good morning, Jason. All right, can we kiss? She can't wait for me to be done because she likes to sing. She's got 15 microphones. All right, so we're gonna look at these higher level. This is the steering mechanism that is gonna possibly control things. I guess we'll use. I like this one, but this one's easier to see. No, that's not the one I wanted. I want to do the anomaly map. All right. So there's our big old high pressure. High pressures are in orange. Something in the orange. Blues are lower pressures. So as long as you got a high pressure to the north, this thing is going to go along the bottom side. High pressures rotate. These winds are driving Beryl astounding, astonishing, incredible 22 miles an hour. This thing was yesterday. I don't know about today, but trust me. Usually anything over 20 mile an hour is too much for systems, especially a Cat 5. So very rare that this thing was able to maintain intensity with moving along with that clip. And that's these strong upper level winds helping push this thing along. But when we get a gap, they start to ride this high, and that's what we're looking for. In the stronger systems, the Coriolis effect, I actually said it right, natural physics with the equator, with the spinning Earth, the equator, North Pole. Storms have a natural tendency to want to go back. That's why most all systems curve and go back to the north. So they, stronger systems sometimes can punch that gap a little bit sooner than later if that gap's starting to show. But overall, this is what's going on. You can see this coming. This is that front line tomorrow, basically eroding this high pressure. And I don't see anybody talk about this little guy. There's a low pressure that's been lingering out here, and I've always wondered if these two together push out our high even quicker, if that makes sense. But this has been showing up on the radar a lot, or not radar, but service charts. But anyway, we're starting to lose that high pressure. And the euro, it's not showing it being affected much, but man, you would think it would try to pull it a little bit more to the north, but it's not. But this is the gap everybody's talking about. This little weakness here, moving our high away and, possibly leaving a gap where it's trying to pull up. So that's the steering mechanism. My only theory on this would be the euro showing a much weaker system than might be reality. Maybe it's not showing that bend enough because it's assuming it's a weaker system. Strong system or not, it's riding that track perfectly because that high is there regardless. It doesn't matter if it's a weak storm or not. Where we're at right now, this high is the high. It don't matter what size storm we got on the map. It can't penetrate that high pressure system. So the Euro's 100% been correct on the track. But what's happening here is this gap is developing. Stronger systems would like to go north. The GFS is showing a stronger system than the Euro. The GFS is showing 970 range, the Euro 990 range. It's feeling that gap. The Icon showing 950, 960 range. The H-Wharf. So that's why we can't turn our back on this possibility of a turn a little bit more up into the Gulf of Mexico. That's big. Definitely big. So the GFS showing this gap. I'm sure I haven't looked at any of these yet. But there's a gap on the GFS. There's that low. There's that low. They're both pushing away our high. This is Friday. GFS is a stronger system, and it's obviously pulling north and eventually kind of into that gap there a little bit. So kind of makes sense, right? Euro really kind of the outlier a little bit, but it's smart. You can't ever turn your back on the euro. The euro is really, really smart. But these are things, if we put it to you this way, if this thing here was here, if that was all high, then yeah, it wouldn't matter. There wouldn't be any discussion of a possible northwest turn. But we're not having that. And that's why we're seeing even the euro is in competition with itself with these latest 6Z models here, because it's showing stronger system, possibly feeling the effects and going a little bit more to the north. So that's a big, big spread for 5 days out. We normally don't ever see that. So 5 days out, this thing is really confused. But the farther this thing tracks the next 12 hours or so, really is going to tell a lot. And if this cone gets bumped a little bit more upwards. So we got a new cone at 11 for that. I did post something earlier too. I want to show you rainfall. Can't not talk about rain. So the GFS is showing obviously a system that current turns up into Texas. So we can't forget about rain. Rain will be a big deal wherever this thing goes. Showing 11 inches plus. So we could have rain training with that. So just keep in mind, this is rainfall through Monday. Heavy rains. Another thing I want to make a point of is that most of the worst effects of storms are on the east side, north side, right side. So when this thing approaches, to show you what it could look like, this could be what it looks like on approach to the Yucatan. Strongest, heaviest stuff to the north. Remember I was saying Belize is probably on the better side. And two, you got to remember too, Belize people, I can't believe we got people in Belize watching, which is awesome. These bands have to come across to reach you, and there is a lot of mountains and dry, conditions, obviously not water. So you don't really get those bad bands that you do on this side, because these bands start feeding off the water and really intensify over water and come in. So again, everything is skewed to the north side because of these getting a fresh wraparound, and unfortunately Cozumel and Cancun. That's what I was telling my cruising friends last night. I'm like, you're going to be all right on Saturday, but who knows if the docks take on damage or not? You don't know if the port gets damaged. You don't know. They could, I'm sure they're evacuating ships now, or planning ahead. This is tomorrow. This is Friday morning. And then as we get across to the Gulf, you can see what I'm talking about as far as effects possibly way to the east side. In fact, I'm going to do the parent version. Oh, we don't have parent version on this one, I don't think. But that's nasty, man. That's nasty. I mean, these we get tornadoes, you get surge. Surge is heaviest on the right side, but obviously where the eye is coming in, this is obviously Texas. But Levi's got something. If you want to see a wider picture, go to Hurricane HWF Parent is the larger look at things, and you can go to I thought we had a radar on this one, but we don't. I was trying to show a good radar map that shows the the H-Wharf really goes north. That's the 6Z. Ooh, man. Woof. Let's see if we got any 6Z on. It's still south of Texas. South of Texas, and then the H-Mon south of Texas. So, but I was hoping to see. I thought I had a model, but I guess not. I had a larger one. Had a better snapshot, I thought, of radar. But this one kind of might be what I'm talking about. But anyway, bottom line is this. See the eye, see the bands. This thing hits even a tick south of the border. This stuff is going to go way into Texas. So, again, don't focus on that part of it with the effects to the north side. There's a lot of population down there. We got a lot of folks down there watching. A lot of brew crews live exactly right there where we're talking. So we're going to have a lot of our diehards there in one way or another, watching this thing progress. Here's your cone again. Remember, the cone is anywhere that the eye could go. Corpus Christi, a lot of folks in Corpus Christi. Harold was there last year. I flew out there, but It'd be really curious. We'll see. I'm telling you, we're going to see an intensifying system here, unfortunately, on approach. And the only thing I learned over the years about an intensifying system is this. Surge seems to be worse on a deepening system than a weakening system. Pressure drops seem to increase the surge numbers on approach. Forward speed, size all affects the surge. Hurricane Ike, 20-foot surge. It was Category 2. It was a 3 weekend, but just, can't get caught up on a category strength. So surge is definitely going to be an issue with this if it ticks a little bit more north for Texas. And I'm telling you, Louisiana, man, ain't official, but man, we got some models that are still saying this thing could split the gap. And we got to watch the hurricane hunters. Every track update is going to be so critical with the hurricane hunters. And, again, they're out there right now. It looks like the eye might have bumped a little to the north. They're going to put a fix here any second. So, it appears somewhere maybe right here is the eye, which means a little bit more tick to the north. So over time, you draw the line and you kind of get an idea of what's going on. And that's not good for Jamaica. The H-Mon has been performing very well with the track. So unfortunately, Jamaica, man, they might be getting it. And, and it all depends too on the weakening. This thing is not weakened like it was supposed to. Yeah, it's still maintaining pretty good wind speed. People always ask about how big the wind field is. Public advisory down here, hurricane force winds go out 45 miles from the center. Tropical storm force winds 185 miles from the center. So even a skirt is the worst, trust me. You're still going to have incoming bands from the south. You're going to have a lot of coastal impacts, even without a direct hit, because the hurricane winds extend out 45 miles. And that's bad. So hopefully everybody's ready. And everybody else from Jamaica, we're thinking of you, man. So so that's about it. I think pretty much covered it all. I like this site here. I haven't linked. We could look at trends and I don't know. GFS has been obviously more Texas. UK went back down. Yesterday we had a run in Texas. Now it's back down south again. H-Wharf's been trending north, back and forth. Euro's been really the outlier going due west, which, God, this to me seems weird that it's not showing that gap. But again, my theory is if this happens, we all learn something together. The Euro is showing a very weak system in the Gulf, so it's not being influenced by that gap. The stronger system is going to feel that influence of the gap, and it's going to get pulled up a little bit more. So the Euro is showing that. There you go. I mean, hey. I don't, and oh my God, it's funny. I had, if you read a discussion on the NHC, it's all model based. Every discussion, everything. The Euro models show strong flow. However, the GFS is showing this. Just all about models. Everything's about the models. So the models are everything, and they, and they usually talk about very much uncertainty. Yeah, see right here. I mean, these are big words for your National Hurricane Center. Significant uncertainty. Stronger storm in the Gulf, generally on the northern side of the guidance envelope, weaker on the southern side. So, yeah, we've covered it all. Feel like a good hour of discussion. What do y'all think about that? Hope it made sense. Hope it's been consistent messaging this whole storm. We will be live tomorrow. We're doing a shrimp boil tonight. We're going to Margaritaville, Auburndale. My favorite place to camp on the planet. But we will be live. I have Starlink. I take over the kitchen counter. I have 2 monitors, 2 laptops. It'll feel the same. I just won't have my background. So we will be live tomorrow morning on July 4th. And thank you, Shelly. You know, Julie and I were talking about Shelly last night. And Shelly's... Yeah, Greg, we've had that shrimp boil together. But Shelly, you've always been there for us. We appreciate it. Along with my buddy Phil. My storm chasing buddy Phil. I'm camping with Joe. Joe goes storm chasing with me a lot. Phil passed the torch to Joe after Ian. He's like, nope, no more. I think I wore Phil out during our last storm chase. He said, no more. But I told Julie, if this thing looks like it's turning to Texas and Louisiana even, I'm probably going to cut our trip short and gas up the old storm chaser. So it's a very fluid situation. I'm going to do a little 90-second reel. A lot of people like them. You know, I average almost 1 million views on these reels. Facebook around 200, 300,000. I put them on video on there because the reels are different than Facebook. So there, and then Instagram and YouTube and TikTok, and it's nuts. TikTok, I'm getting 300,000 views. I almost have 300,000 followers over there now. It's a huge platform. Gretchen from Colorado. Shelly, listen, your priorities are Mason, right? Don't worry about it. You ain't going to matter. Trust me, I'm not going to hold you to anything. Don't worry. Let's say hi to some folks now. Thank you, Penny Brewer. Kyle, yep, Texas, got to watch close. Not meant to scare anybody, but, you know, if I lived in Texas, I'd be watching extremely close. How about that? Lord Andrew, good seeing you, man. Long-time follower. Appreciate that. Bob Parrish, what's up, buddy? James Fort. Amy Brown, what's up? Never heard of a shrimp boil, Arthur. What the hell? Katie brings up a funny... You want to hear a funny story? Katie just brought it up. Katie Haley over in our Brew Crew chat. Hey, listen, if any of y'all want to be a bigger part of us, we have a special little group. We call them the Brew Crew, and we have our own private chat room and everything else. And you can sign up right there and get a lot of perks and a lot of fun stuff. I even send Christmas cards out. This year, I'm going to sign every one of them. But, so one time, okay, so we always, all right, listen, I got to tell you a funny story. So we've been talking an hour and 5 minutes, so, but this is a funny story. You might want to stick around for it. So we go tailgating all the time to the Rays game. I had a great idea to do a shrimp broil one time, and we always make shrimp broils with Old Bay seasoning, and to me, it's not ever hot enough, and I've tried everything. So I'm like, so I found this stuff on Amazon. It was like Cajun seasoning, right? God, it looks so good. Got a big old bag of it, and I was like, yeah, I was tasting it. This is what I want. So I dumped the bag in there, right? Well, I didn't realize the bag that I bought was for like 100 shrimp boils. The bag said it'll do like 500 shrimp, 10 pounds of, I mean, it was a bulk bag, and that shrimp boil, nobody could, I couldn't even eat it. It was so hot. Like, it was, we threw away $200 worth of food. I'll never forget. It was awful. I mean, it was one of them, like, I'm looking, I'm like, what did I just do? We dumped the thing out, and one of the kids, Emily's friends, took a bite and was like, ah! And I'm trying to eat it with a straight face as I'm sweating like, oh, it's good. Oh, man. So read the instructions. I swear to God. It was like a bag for like 20 shrimp boils or something. I don't know. And I dumped the whole bag in there like a dummy. So there might have been alcohol involved. Good memories, right? Oh, I got my sign right here. I can't forget my sign. Look. This is see that's for. I meant to put that in the camper. That's for our camper. Bad choices make good stories. That's meant to be in the camper. So it was hot. All right. Well, anyway, that was something. So hope you enjoyed it. We'll be live tomorrow, 9:19 Eastern. I'm gonna do a reel here in a minute once the 11 o'clock comes out. Bottom line is this, man. Jamaica. I hope you're ready. Hope you're prepared. This thing is a monster. Unfortunately, it's going to be very, very close. A lot of impacts are coming your way, and it's terrible to know that's going to happen. But you're going to see, a lot of strong winds and surge your way here in just a few short hours. So batten down the hatches there. Best thing to do on my side is just look at live satellite and know where these bands are at. Look at Hurricane Hunter data that's supplied to you by Tropical Tidbits here. You click on this and you can see exactly where the plane's at currently. This one's in the storm, so you can click on it. Oh, we didn't get that shift north like I thought we were going to get. That's good news for Jamaica. But the eye still seems like it's a little north. But anyway, there's that. A little high pressure too, which is good. It's expected to weaken. Don't let that, weakening is good. But don't let the headlines of weakening make you not prepared. Yucatan, Gulf of Mexico. I hate it when the news says downgraded. It puts this perception in your mind like, it's over. We're going to go to July 4th party. No. It's probably going to rebound. Maybe it doesn't. But at this time, you just kind of trust the models and what this storm has done. When I talk about a Cape Verde seed, this is it. Invest 96 doesn't have it. This is your lower level circulation, and it was like this all. Man, why is this thing not zooming in like I want? Oh, I hit control. This is the circulation right now, and it's tight. This is lower level circulation. When Beryl left Africa, it had circulation over the intertropics convergence zone. Okay, Invest 96 does not have that. It's never had that. It has nothing. This had it. Invest 96 doesn't. And when these little guys, what I've learned over history, if we have that spin from Africa, it can cross Hispaniola and it can come back. And it did. And I think Dorian was a prime example. Dorian went a little bit more over Puerto Rico, but so we just got to watch it. That's all. It's got to get through this shear, though. There is shear ahead. Oh, I wanted to show you the shear maps, by the way. So there is a little bit of shear ahead. Let's talk about a couple things I meant to talk about. It's not really showing up on 250. Yeah, I guess it is going to run into this. But your shear map's showing you this. A couple things. I guess we can look here. I want to show you real quick. Two things that are important to me to show you. I meant to show you, and I didn't show you. But now we're going to show you. Show you. All right, so here's your shear map. Right here, and our system is going to be running into some strong winds coming in before the Yucatan. So it's expected to weaken after Jamaica, maybe a bunch. My button not working, but then the shear is going to be lax on its approach to the Yucatan. So this is expected. Shear is very hard to predict. The storm wasn't supposed to be as strong as it is now. It was never supposed to be 165 to begin with. So just to show you that it's been an overachieving storm, but the shear is supposed to relax the time it gets to the Yucatan. The other thing I want to talk about real quick is upper level winds here as we get into the weekend are looking pretty relaxed over the Gulf of Mexico. Almost got a little anticyclone action, they call that, kind of a high pressure over the Gulf. So we're not really showing any significant shear in the Gulf here Saturday, and that could allow some intensification. So that is why some of these models are showing intensification in the Gulf. Just not really showing a lot of shear. Euro's showing a little bit more shear, but not anything massively. That's what I'm getting. No big systems or anything in the way. So There is a little bit of shear to the north, but the conditions this weekend is what I'm getting at. Don't look that bad for this thing to develop. So these are just things to watch. That's all. All right, cool. Oh, read directions. I don't do that. Oh, anyway. That's it. All right. Well, let's talk about mooring here. They're a big company out of Texas, so we oh, I'm downloading the wrong thing here. Whoa, what am I doing here? Oh, my browser's about ready to crash. I'm not going to do anything. So anyway, we have a lot of great supporters. Mooring's out of Texas. If we do have any Texas action, we'll be talking a lot about Brian's company here. They're a big disaster restoration company that works huge in the state of Texas, everywhere in the U.S., but especially Texas. So if you need any help at all, if you get any storm damage, keep them in mind, as they will be there first on the scene helping after a storm. So big shout out to them. They're big fans of ours. Met them a bunch of times, and we'll be working a lot together through the year, it looks like. So keep that in mind if this does turn up towards Texas, that we do have a great supporter that can help you out, businesses especially. So, all right, we're going to do our little reel now. Watch for that 11 o'clock update in about 30 minutes, and then I'll obviously share it. But I hope you enjoyed it, everybody. All right, thanks for watching, and stay safe out there in the islands. We're thinking of you for sure. All right, see ya.